Freddie figured it out.
Freddie figured it out. Leave it to the man that knows. How far?
Good.
Staying warm?
It's warm enough.
I hate.
Humidity.
Oh, I hate that. Worse.
Yeah, that's worse.
One spring. I like winter.
I'd like a little rain. We're
Oh, yeah,
asking
I
for
bet you.
things. How'd you get roped into this?
Volunteering, everybody should know.
I think that's what we're all here.
Yeah,
It's like it. Want Jim to move up next to you?
yeah, if you would, Jim, that'd be great. If you got time?
Sorry, not real dressed up for the meeting.
No, we don't dress up.
We don't dress up.
Why,
I
what's he
dressed-
talking
I dressed
about?
up,
Yeah,
didn't
I
you?
dressed up.
What I had on 5 minutes ago.
Oh, yeah, me too.
We can, can you all see it?
Be better if it was
Clear
back
enough?
a little, I think. Unless
Oh, I'm fine. I can clearly see it here,
We
but,
just slide around.
but we can move it back too.
Supply popcorn?
Oh, I need to see that.
Is this what you sent us? This is what you sent us, copy of all this?
Well, I sent you a copy of, let's see, what Mark and Deb went through. Right to, there's some explanation of that we need to give. I sent you that, I believe. I sent that to everybody out there. Mark and I went through this on Thursday afternoon. And I just have that up as the zoning resolution right off the website as it is, just for our reference. And that's the website. And then down here's the agenda. What else we got?
Let's go ahead and look at this back. Let's see. Hey, Dan, can we get yours? Can we do it
Can you guys get it?
It's like
They got it.
teamwork. I've done that before.
Yeah.
Better.
Is that good, everybody?
Yeah, we're fine. Yeah, we go. Okay. Sit. You can sit over there.
Okay, so, yeah. So it's 7 o'clock, I guess, call the meeting to order. And I guess welcome visitors, you're right here. Did everybody sign in, the visitors? Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, so I hear a roll call. If you don't mind doing that,
Sure. Roll call. Mr. Jacoby?
Present?
Present.
Mr. Glenn? Present.
Present.
We're off on this. Mr. Walters?
Are you here, Marvin?
I'm here. Mr. Lee, you're here. Here. I'm here. Mr. Reader. We're all here.
Except for Mr. Walters.
So I did not hear Mr. Walters. You're right, Mr. Walters.
Yeah.
4 on that.
Okay. Great. So as far as visitors' comments or if there's any issues you'd like to present, we'll give you 3 minutes to do so. Nothing? Okay. All right. Okay, so as far as last meeting, got old business to discuss, got the minutes to approve. Okay, did everybody have a chance? Everybody have a chance to look at that's the old. That's got the wrong title to it. Okay. So did everybody have a chance to read the minutes, or should we just kind of look through these? This is what Mark Easton did from our July 5th meeting.
I did, I read.
Look at them real quick.
I have
here.
one question on this.
Uh-huh.
I think it was just a word that was left out, like the word not. So it went from does to does not.
Okay.
But you can tell me because it got kind of, to make sure.
Okay.
Under the zoning resolution language. Paragraph there, down here.
Are you under which section? You're in minutes, right?
It broke up in different pages. I think it's the same page. Pull down there, or you can scroll it. It's the, the third bullet down under new business. Down in the middle of that section.
Okay, right in here.
He stated that a parked truck in excess of 1 ton is considered an accessory use of a property. However, since the Sunbury property doesn't have a principal structure, the parked truck is viewed as an accessory use. Thus, the parked truck does not create a violation. Well, actually, you might read that it does.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Which was stated, where's. Waiting on that? I'll show you where it is.
Yeah, where is it here?
Where's-
Say the parking license.
Or what it didn't create an issue as long as you moved it every 3 days.
That's right. But that wasn't, the however doesn't quite say that.
Does not. See, that's third bullet point down. Why? Oh, I see that. I fell for the same page break that you did. Park truck does not, right? Right here, Dan?
That's where you see it. So. Or there's an issue between neighbors and Sunbury concerning truck parked overnight. The east end park truck in excess of 1 is considered accessory. That's correct.
Says, however, since this, yeah, since there's no principal structure, it's accessory use.
Sunbury or Sunsbury? It is Sunsbury.
It's not.
Well, no, it's not a violation because there's no structure there. Had
You
there
just
been a
can't park it.
Yeah, you can.
No.
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
Yeah,
That's
that
the whole
was the whole thing was the.
Really?
Yes, so that's correct.
I was thinking that's why he moved.
There's no, he would have, if there was a violation, he would have said, hey, you violated.
Oh,
If he wasn't violating, there wasn't a, can't consider it accessory structure because there's no principal structure. Yes.
Do that either.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's why he can park it.
Kirk was out. It
But
says-
when you live in it, you call it sun.
No, that's correct.
Okay. Never mind. Clear it up.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a catch 22.
I just saw it. Not out of there, but okay.
Yeah. Somehow we gotta figure that problem out,
Oh, really?
In the history, yeah.
So somebody.
at least in the residential area.
Or.
One thing to be,
That's why I was thinking, well, that's even more of a violation than if.
wouldn't you think so? Yeah,
You can park next door, and hey, you have to park here, I don't have a house here. so I'm
yeah,
gonna park
that's
in
right. Yeah,
the front yard.
I live elsewhere. They won't let me do it. Yeah, they won't let me do it in Ron Heights.
Discussion, but somehow you guys, wires get crossed.
Okay, so thus it does not create, Okay. yeah,
What do you call it?
as it's currently.
Had 2 different names.
If I know of.
Okay, so, I guess,
Other than that.
anything else in the minutes here that we need to look through?
So what did you decide there? Is that written correctly?
Yeah, that's correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So I guess that's why you're next thing.
Guys, to change the resolution to get rid of that ambiguity.
Okay. So do I hear a motion to approve the minutes as written then?
I will make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second,
Second, I will.
all in favor?
I,
Motion has passed to approve the minutes from the July 5th, 22 zoning commission meeting.
Motion accepted was by,
Yeah, so you can, if you wish, you can put down, the detail as far as who put the motion up
we won't.
and who seconded, just that it was approved. I don't know that,
It's important. Okay.
those notes have been taken. Okay. So then as far as, next item on old business, guess the condition of the zoning resolution changes as approved by the trustees. Some text has been added and apparently inserted from other township zoning resolutions after we approved it and sent it to the county and trustees. So the process was this. Everybody here remembers what we did to make the changes to the definitions, the well field, and the pool fences, long and drawn out through COVID and everything else, but finally got it done. So then the next step was to send it to the county, which they approved it. And that was the
The Montgomery County.
Planning Commission. And then it came back and then it went to the trustees. The trustees approved it. And then at some point at some point in that process, text was added that we had not covered. And it appeared to have been brought in from like Miami Township.
So
Yeah.
I'll add to that a little bit. Park Cross 744 time, since I'm a visitor, I gotta say. Just to kind of state again what Kurt said. So last winter before last, be the 2021 during the middle of COVID. That's when everybody was remote, which was a big problem. And Haley, basically, she was kind of typing in the changes right in front of the sentence. So anyway, she made those changes. And next step is that it has to be submitted to the Montgomery County Planning Commission, and they'll tell you whether they approve the changes or disapprove the changes. As it turned out, they approved the changes. Then after that step, it goes to the trustees to approve. The trustees, approved it because they had no idea, didn't know if there was anything different. So that was approved 7/12/21, so a year ago. So at that point, all the changes should have been incorporated into the hard copy of the zoning resolution. Online version should have been those changes too, and it should have been sent to the recorder's office because we keep the record of everything basically that everybody does. So unfortunately, Haley did none of that. She didn't make a hard copy of the changes and definitions of well field and incorporate in the hard copy. She didn't send anything to the recorder's office, didn't change the version of the zoning resolution that's online. So just by chance, we were looking at it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Say add one more thing. Deb Cross, 7444 South Stuyvesant Road. When she made those changes, she actually sent the changes that we're talking about that are either added or deleted or changed to the commissioner's office, the planning commission, and it got approved.
And you know that because that's the copy they had.
Yes, right. And we also know that she sent them to the trustees also in error, the
Same
way that
copy
they're,
that was
same
sent.
copy, and that was approved. So, but it's not what you guys had decided upon, I think. Well, we know. But it was decided upon during those meetings.
Right.
And I talked to Larry Wiseman from the commission a couple weeks ago. I wanted to make sure that we were looking at the copy that was actually submitted by Halen. That's the copy that we discussed. So we looked at that copy and I met last Thursday. So there's something.
And this is it right here.
Right.
I scanned it in. So just to kind of give you some feel for what Deb and Mark are talking
If you
about.
guys- If any of this sounds familiar, like some of these definitions, because Kurt and I couldn't figure out where they came from.
Yeah, some of this stuff is, and Mark's marked it by a change or some, a little delta over there as it's not being consistent with what either we remember or, okay, so right in here, let's see. Maybe that's not,
And those were the two admissions, two different.
these were,
They're written off to the side.
yeah, omitted, right.
So adult family home and adult group home were completely taken out of the zoning resolution definitions.
Yeah, even though we didn't even touch those. That wasn't one of the things we were,
But we did, we took this document or this document that's on the screen and we took the zoning resolution book and went through it
Word for word.
word for word.
Mhm.
She was reading, I was reading, she was reading it out loud and I was following. So that's how we.
So Dan, you've got, I mean, you went through this with a fine tooth comb, so you're probably gonna have the best recall on.
Not at all, because I've seen so many versions of this and.
Yeah, I guess that's right.
It's been a couple of years, so I don't have a photographic memory, especially not for a couple of years.
Fair enough. So some of these are just numbering issues, right?
One thing does come to mind though, and I'm just trying to, maybe I shouldn't even try to guess at why those are missing. I do remember there was some issue back a few years ago where the planning commission had said something about adult homes, adult care homes would be something that. And so I'm wondering if that was at the time that was taken out because it was considered out of date or something, but I don't recall exactly what that was. So I'm just trying to figure out why it would have been taken out. It's a strange thing to take it out.
Yeah, there was no reason. Because when you compare, when you compare the hard copy that you're looking at, this was just approved last year, so it was
Right.
approved a year ago. So unless anybody can remember why those were taken out, I mean, but they would have to be approved by the zoning commission.
Right.
All these changes last year would have to be approved by, because I was on the commission at the time, and that's where most of you. So,
In fact, the only reason this got caught was because Mark was on the zoning commission. Anybody else would probably not have caught that, right? By the first effect that they hadn't served on the commission and were a trustee. Like Lou and Jake would not have known. They just said,
well, nobody.
simply couldn't have
That's
caught
why
it.
trustees approved it, and I don't fault them for it, because they wouldn't have gone through this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're not gonna.
Exactly.
This all should have been. So if you do you mind me going to the next page?
Yeah, let's go to page 3.
So does anybody remember 20304?
Yeah. You think it's Miami Township.
We know it is.
You know it is.
That was word out of my.
So,
In other townships to see maybe where the wording came from.
so one possibility is that we were looking at other townships and trying to see how they worded some of this. And that when Haley finally did a final draft to send to the county, this stuff got mixed in. I can't think of any other explanation.
Interesting thing is, this is word for Miami Township. zoning resolution.
She did not work contemporaneously, and by that I mean she would postpone and delay and procrastinate and do things much later than they should have been. So, and anybody, when you work like that, you have a tendency to forget what was supposed to be done. You have to pick up the pieces. So I think that's what might have happened.
I don't remember any discussion about that. It'd be strange to, I don't read it. There's no discussion about that. I don't remember discussions about that.
There we are.
I think I could remember at least the topic.
So this is what we're looking at here, and there's really no,
Has this been recorded with the county?
and approved by the trustees.
Supported with the county, but
just been
it's been submitted to the planning commission during the process of getting everything approved by the trustees.
So now do we have to go through to redact this? Another meetings or something, or are we just gonna be able to fix this?
Well,
I guess
so-
you're first, then we'll go-
Let's just, we can't go through this with a fine tooth comb, but we'll just get some
20404.
20404 right here. Dwelling group. Anybody remember talking about a dwelling group?
No.
Doesn't really.
You usually have just a single principal structure, not more than, multiple houses.
So the next page, page 5. So overall, there was 3 omissions, the 2 on the second page, and there was another omission, and there was 6 additions. 6 definitions added.
Page 5, what do you want?
Again, I'm gonna put that in the minutes.
Oh, there were 3 omissions.
So this is similar to Miami Township, but not in German Township, right?
Definitions.
Yeah.
That family, Mark, sorry.
6. No, three definitions were omitted. 6
Yeah, it was just similar, but it wasn't, that was a complete addition to the definitions.
You wanted to take a look at this one here?
Family.
Yeah.
We didn't know where she. Family was added. Next page,
Page 6.
20801, halfway houses was changed. That we have a definition for halfway house.
You don't know where this came from?
We need all this.
Oh, no.
Take it away.
Just say when we're reviewing it or something like that, just because the only,
Something that she-
Just keep trying to follow. Can't do it.
yeah, the only thing we have to do is figure out, at the end, just say what we decide to do with this, right? Because
That had line about how many missions.
Oh. We had no idea this was going on.
we're just bringing everybody up to date.
Yeah, so I still missed what Dr. Cross said there was,
We can just get that.
3 definitions were omitted. Is that what?
let me,
That's just definition.
Like, you know,
3 definitions
omitted.
omitted,
6 definitions.
6 definitions added that were not approved by the zoning.
So Mark, on this independent housing,
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. What's it called?
Housing alternatives for the elderly. So I think if we would have, somebody would have remembered.
Adding that piece,
No.
right?
I don't ever remember reading it.
So then we go down to 21001, joint economic development plan was the red line down, but that was actually.
21001, 10,
So that
You
was
mean this one?
actually in our,
The red one.
oh, got it, yeah.
that was it, that's in.
Yeah, it's in here.
Zoning resolution.
But she took it out completely, right?
Yeah.
That one.
An economic, and we need that.
What else?
Okay, keep going down. This is just definitions.
That's just a typo right there, so.
Okay. Big deal there.
Oh, these are inaccurate, references to other definitions and or.
Yeah, which Dan so carefully went through and made
Well,
sure
I
that.
did it again this time based on, so they're probably the same things I see up here. But I took notes on the things that I saw that match up too on this one you sent.
Okay.
were they? Or what's
So
left?
9 just had a couple.
Typos there. Change back to 6. Oh, from 3 persons to 6.
Yeah, I don't know why those numbers got changed. Those to the zoning resolution.
But does it say in there 3 now? It used to be.
Yeah, that says,
6. It was changed to
yeah, you,
I don't know, Page 11.
go back down just a little bit, Kurt.
to 10, page 10 there,
Back to 10.
back up.
This is where she added, I can't read what that is. Plant-
Oh, these ands, yeah. So this is something that Dan would have focused on and said, okay, we got to make this consistent language with the rest of the definition. So that's the kind of stuff that you cleaned up because it was done over periods of time. And
When you have and, so every one of those conditions would have had to been
Mhm.
development
Yeah.
versus they weren't supposed to be and, they were supposed to be separate.
Mhm.
So she had
Mhm.
We can't explain it, Dana. It's just-
And that could have been borrowed from another township, right? Could have been.
Well, everything else was there, exactly word for word as we had it, as the, it was
Oh.
in the zoning resolution, except for the fact that she had added the word and at the end of those
Yeah.
ABC.
Weird.
So, on page 11, room habit, I don't remember.
I don't remember habitable either. Just in case you want a definition. Habitable room versus one.
Okay, so anything else on right here?
I've seen some rooms uninhabitable before, but
See, do we really need this many? Oh, this is just an aside here for future consideration, but Mark asked the question, do we really need this many types of signs? You know, we got a lot there, so I don't know, we'll talk about it some future date. See if we can eliminate some of those.
And that one right there, I think she just
L,
ran all that together and there should be.
oh yeah, there's a poster panel here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that should be M or something like that, right?
Yeah, it should be L and then go on to M. Just
Oh, I
marketing.
I see. That should have been broken.
Yeah, just, there's no proofreading? Is that what the issue was? Like,
they actually just did stuff without showing us again, and we never knew this. So it's-
Yeah, that is the mystery.
At least it appears to be the case.
Okay, so that's just a little typo, yeah. And then that's so, I thought that's what we were gonna look for when this came back. I thought, okay, we'll just go through, spot some typos and then fix them, and then we're good. Well, it was a whole lot bigger can of worms. Let's see.
this was the file that I converted?
No. No, we did that, but this was Mark's hand working document that I scanned in. Okay. So,
This is the money.
So in some of those cases, can you go back down
sorry?
that page right there? So when these are sent to the planning commission, they should be sent to the planning commission in a red line version so they can see the changes, I'm assuming. I'm just assuming that's the way that it should be.
Mhm.
So she just kept it in black. She changed some of these things, but just kept them in regular type. She didn't red line them, so they didn't really know to look at them when they were approving them. So like that should have been in red when she sent it over because it's okay. You guys added that. The zoning commission added that where I have okay over at the left or Mark does. But she didn't have them like look at it to say this was added.
Mm-hmm.
And then that hot tubs reference. That was taken out, I guess.
You know, during the meetings though, I mean, she would redline, I mean, stuff
She's doing
right,
it all during the meeting.
right during the meetings.
Yeah.
And we were looking at what she was doing and
It's
it was,
possible to follow.
it was okay. Because she would redline through this and that. And so
That doesn't mean
I don't
we didn't change
understand
it.
how it never followed.
We didn't those, oh, after she did that, she was doing it as we were talking.
What you're doing is,
I'll get this back. I remember saying, to her,
Right.
I'll get this back to you. It's-
right,
We never, I don't think it ever circled back to us somehow. Never saw those. We kept, that's when we were questioning, we kept waiting for those updated versions and
So let's see, just some more.
Yes.
So in summary, 3 items were omitted, 6 were added without zoning commission approval. And that's what was approved by the township trustees. So essentially, let's see, going back, that's the zoning resolution online. I've got it someplace here. So, essentially that document is with the updated changes that made here with the well field and the pool fence is the legal document since it's been approved by the trustees. And
That's our quandary, right, Kurt?
what's that?
That's the.
Yeah, and so Mark spoke, I don't know if you spoke with, yeah, let's see, where is that? Solution changes.
Just Marvin's point, I say she was doing this, and half the time the connections are so bad, she was just doing this during the meeting. So we hadn't really I had no idea. I mean, you can't really see what she's doing there, what she was doing. She never gave us, she should have given us,
a hard copy.
she should have given us this basically. And so we could have gone through this and say, hey, what's going on here? We never saw it. You never saw it. She went ahead and submitted it to the planning commission, so they approved it. Once the trustees would have no idea because they're not going to look through this.
Like Kirk said, she probably put it off and didn't get around to really doing the thing till whenever she got to it. And then by that time, it was, who knows where it was coming from. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, here it is. Okay, so then Mark, you spoke with, or you emailed Nathaniel Peterson? So essentially the way I interpret this is, so on Thursday, Mark and I said, okay, this is the legal document, regardless of all the additions and omissions and that kind of thing, because it's been approved. And essentially the way I read that is Nathaniel Peterson says, yes, this is the legal document, despite the, mistakes of the former zoning, what's he call her, inspector. Despite that, it's the legal document. It's basically ours to fix later on. It's got to go onto the website. It's got to be posted and used by the current inspector for the time being until we fix it.
Luckily, the definitions she put in really aren't going to affect
Right.
anything big, so she didn't put something there that affects.
doesn't negate anything that was there. It just
Doesn't
added,
negate.
it adds
Yeah.
extra information or
Yeah, pretty much.
Unless we get not a petition or an application for a family group home.
with or without chickens. Merge all these issues.
Oh, God.
So,
And I asked them, well, could we trustees just negate that resolution? Can't go back, it's already. So.
We're just revising it.
Well, that's Kurt. You want to address that? So basically, I think the option, we're going to have to incorporate this into the zoning resolution that was amended as of 7/12/2021, a year ago. And have to put all this junk in, unfortunately. Then the zoning commission is going to have to go back and
Back to-
well, yeah, make new text changes and remove all the stuff that isn't supposed to be there, add stuff back that was omitted. You know, and then at that opportunity, you can add whatever you want. You need to add solar panel. It's gonna be,
I have a question. I have a question. So if we record it at the county recorder's office, do they charge per word? Are we gonna get charged for all
They
these
charge per
extra
page.
crap and then all the taking out the stuff and then,
we're gonna charge when we submit, get this finally done, they charge, I think, per page. I can't remember. She said there's different way they charge depending on how many pages are. So that's why once we do eventually get this done, we can, she said, just send it to her and she can look at it and tell us how much it's gonna cost. So Mark can check.
Well, let me ask you this. So it's the legal document and it's gonna be changed. Does it really have to be sent to the recorder's office? Couldn't we just sit on it?
In ORC, it says it has to be sent. That's funny because Larry Weissman said some jurisdictions don't send it because they don't want to pay the cost. But in the ORC, it says that it must be sent to the recorder's office.
After how long?
Well, it's supposed to be within, I don't know, 5 or 10 days, but that ship has sailed. So the recorder's office didn't, when I talked to the lady, she didn't, I mean, it wasn't like it's a penalty if you didn't get it on time.
It doesn't change the legal status of the document.
No, it doesn't change. And I would agree and say, well, let's just not send it to the reporter. But it really is in the ORC that you're supposed to be sent. So the second the changes are finalized by the trustees, which.
That's your decision, Mr. Trustee.
Well, I mean, we're not talking a huge amount. It's not like, I think there was one bill in there for like $1,500, but I think that was when the whole entire. It's probably back in 2012. So many pages. I guess
Okay.
when we finally get it done. It's gonna pull off and say, well. So anyway. Yeah, that's pretty. Because again, this is pretty much what I got from Nathaniel's email was that, this is the legal document and this is.
So we would actually be paying them to change something that's really not right and then go back and redo it again and then pay them again. Or we could just, and wait until we actually go back and fix it and then just send it to them after it's fixed. I mean, that'd be the simplest thing to do.
Nobody's gonna say anything.
They're probably not. I mean, I'll read the ORC again, and if it says, that we have to, then probably. Because we're not talking, I mean, we're even a couple $100 in the grand scheme of things is not a big cut of general fund of the state. So,
Cool.
you
yeah.
can always charge her.
So anybody that could have send her a bill.
Yes.
Several big. But anyway, yeah, so had this been done correctly, we wouldn't be having this discussion. So again, for you guys especially, you're gonna have, now you have to, you went through all that with during COVID, which was very difficult. Now you're gonna have to go through back and correct all those definitions. I think the well field is okay. I think the pool fence is okay, even though it's much longer than the talking about two paragraphs to 2 pages. It's only supposed to just change the height. From 5.
So conclusion is we're gonna go back and fix this up
Yeah,
Eventually.
yeah,
That's where, maybe.
yeah, we just have, yeah,
Eventually.
yeah. It's on future agenda,
I think part of that, of course, like anything else, you have to establish the priority, and that's usually based on the level of risk involved here. There's nothing that's unsafe or illegal. It probably drops down a little bit in terms of priority. If there's things that we would introduce a problem, like allowing something that we wouldn't typically allow, that for a reason, should probably change that first, or maybe consider how, we might have to do them all at one time, it sounds like. But
Yeah.
that might guide us about when we'll do it, if there's something that's going to put us at risk in some respect, as far as what we're going to adopt, or like I said, there's something that's, I don't think there's anything that's unsafe. We don't have, like I said, the pool things are all pretty much set.
Yeah,
That is why the list.
but that's this, when somebody comes in for a pool permit, you just tell them it's full, and so.
Mhm.
so. But again, the public has not seen this, they have not, so they would have no idea that there's.
Was there ever a hard copy? Ever? With the correct definitions and changes?
You know, that's what Danny moved on. Unfortunately, she went with this document just to kind of clean it up. Because of all the red line stuff, it still is this document, so it includes all the.
The stuff
Yeah,
that she.
we thought we were done, but
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Oh, boy.
At least you have a nice document, a nice clean document and some with notes on it. You'd be easier to fix when you have to go back and fix it.
yeah. So,
This has been approved by the trustees, but not.
Yeah. so,
don't compare them word to word like we did.
so Mark, is it gonna be your recommendation to just go ahead and post it on the website so we have an updated version and we at least have the pool regulations and the well field on there and some of the updated,
Put out everything.
yeah, right.
That's the question is how do we do that? What Danny did, someone's gonna have to go through that and just gotta make sure that it's, as far as if there's she went through the type of stuff. She went by this document, so,
Right.
and she's gonna, somebody's up to.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, her document is pretty close to being ready to put on.
Mhm.
because That's the one that was approved.
I'm just saying, I don't know, I mean, there's nothing major, but I went through and did the usual check about things, looking for. I haven't read, so it's not much. I got 4 pages here that I just printed out from the document, just the changes that I see. There are little things that need to be changed, so it's not.
The work that remains to be done is to take the existing zoning resolution as it is online, get it into editable Word form, make the changes, put the definitions in it so that it's all formatted in the same format, insert the well field, and then you're going to have to format after that, insert the pool and format after that. So it's all one seamless document. And, she said, I'll do it, but she says, I want to get paid for it. And so, I told Mark, you're going to need to find somebody to do that work. Maybe Kristen would want to do it as a side project. I don't know, but somebody who is,
I don't think she wants to.
okay, well, somebody. Maybe somebody's wife would want to do that for paid, but they need to be very fluent with Word and how to do formatting. So it can't be just, anybody.
Chief basically.
And then they have to convert it to a PDF, and then that PDF gets posted to the website, and the old one gets pulled off.
Do we have anybody on staff that will do that or is already being paid to do things like that?
I think Chief can do it. I mean, if you give him the documents completed, he said, I don't want to go through this and now and change the sentences here. As far as the website, he can, once we give him the documents.
Who's that?
He goes to his IT guy, which is, that's another subject, but yeah.
So it just needs to be done, I guess, like say. We need to make sure that we need to have a copy of the updated version as of 7/12/21.
Well, that sounds like something the trustees are going to have to take up and decide who's going to do this and who's going to get paid for it.
Well, we'll have to be on. I'll talk to Chief tomorrow. We can get, I say Danny's got pretty much with maybe a couple small typos. She's already got got the changes.
She's done a lot.
It's done.
Yeah, she's done a lot,
But
but
it's just a matter of taking out the old sections and zoning resolution, adding the new ones.
but then it has to all be formatted together so you don't, get page overruns and
Diff definitions are all fine, because they just go, the whole definition section is gonna go out in the new definition section. Well field is in the pool, because there's sections. are-
it's inserted, right?
It's got-
And the
So
pool.
I'll talk to Chief.
Okay, yeah. So that's really the next step. Yeah. Dan?
I can get these, I saw that would, I don't know if Danny wants to change that, if we just need to change it. These-
Typos?
Just, some don't match up with, the sections are supposed to be. But, and then they're mainly just that kind of typo types of things, yeah.
So that's Danny's addition.
Yeah, this is, I went and prepared her edition today.
Good. Yeah,
The-
thank
the
you.
usual, checking.
Good.
And check. One thing that I was also curious why that section on telecommunications tower, I think it looks like it came from the ORC from what I could see, but it didn't have all parts of the ORC definition of that. I'm not sure why. And I could tell it's been retyped because there are a couple of typos in there. So I didn't know why some sections were left out, like the closing sentence and things like that. But that's not anything. I just noted that was different. The other thing, I'd spoken last time about the necessity or the convenience and all that. I think it's a necessity too. If people get back through the art zoning resolutions with the search, for instance, the search function. For some reason, this is strange. I checked that today just to make sure, and got too detailed, but it's at 2505. Search list article numbers don't search anymore.
I
Why-
couldn't search it. You told me last time that it was searchable. I could not figure out. I went to the internet trying to figure out how to do it and couldn't search the document.
You have a PC-based or a Mac-based system. It's a command, you can do it to any PDF or almost any web page. You can just do command find F. Find. And it lock up there, top, you can type the word or type several words or number you want up there. And then it shows you how many matches there are. You just go down and it highlights them on the page then. But the weird thing about it is it did search, I searched different terms down and further down after the 2505, it stopped picking up any of the numbers. I don't know why, but it did pick up the words down beyond that. So I don't know how it could have been formatted where it wouldn't pick up search on numbers, like the article numbers, like 4302 or whatever it was. It wouldn't pick that up. It might pick up 43, it would pick up 4302. So something was coded wrong and somehow whoever, I don't know how that is. I'm not especially setting up, if that takes code changes or whatever to do it. If there's something within Adobe that lets you change that kind of thing, where it is, it's a mistake, but it did do it. But it did search, it did find words in that section. So it's just as strange. That's so helpful to go in as you know, because you'd like to do that too. So when you did that, it didn't, or maybe we can check with you later instead of taking time here, but
I'll try to get on my Mac.
Okay. So you'll talk with the chief and
I'll
then
talk to the chief.
let us know. Okay.
What Danny did as far as those. Talk about the webinar.
See here. I was gonna put that under new business, but let's see, where are we next?
Definitions need to be clarified for manufacturing.
Definitions need to be clarified. Oh, yeah. So manufactured homes, have you gotten any farther with that, Mark? Because I did too.
Couple comments. So Kurt and I watched that webinar. It was the ORC versus solution. Couple things that I struck out when I watched it. The lawyer was talking, any ambiguity in zoning resolution must be strictly construed in favor of the owner's desired use of the property. So if there's something there that's not clear, you should always go with what the owner wants to do, which may or may not be.
shouldn't be ambiguous.
yeah, it shouldn't be ambiguous, is basically what she was saying.
Right.
It's gotta be. You also said there should be a definition of the junk vehicles in the code, which we can really add. That's just, we already have a definition. That's one of the new ones we put in, so that kind of confirms that. And she did say this, and this is where the confusion with Richard's probably talking about. She said that you may not prohibit permanently sited manufactured homes. Fortunately, when you go to definition of manufactured housing, commonly known as mobile homes in the US, it's a type of fabricated housing that is largely assembled in factories, then transported to sites of use. Definition of the US is regulated by federal law, Code of Federal Organizations. Manufactured homes are built as dwelling units of at least 320 square feet in size with a permanent chassis to assure the initial continued transportability of the home. The requirement to have a wheel chassis attached to manufactured housing types of homes such as modular. Modular homes are built to meet or exceed the same building as site structures. So when she says you may not, basically, if you look at the definition says that manufactured homes are the same as mobile homes. They will have that framework and they'll have the wheel will still be down no matter what. She's saying that you may not prohibit permanently sited manufactured homes. It's a contradiction of what when we go with the definitions.
What you can do is require certain types of minimum requirements on the property, you know, the terms of land, a permanent foundation, you know, that type of thing. Those are things you can do, but the restrictions on manufactured homes are really very limited. And I didn't realize the federal government, as you said, is in this. It's the HUD. HUD certifies these homes and they're regulated. So
The house that we were questioning last meeting now has a block foundation wall.
I've seen that done.
But I'm just assuming it's for ease, you know, so versus digging it across space, putting your foundation, there, they basically put an entire slab down. So up from it.
They put footings down, which are perimeter, and then they block up from there, yeah.
Which it looks very
Yeah,
nice.
that's,
4 feet off the ground. So.
yeah, well, or you can, I mean, you could technically, with that block wall, you could actually fill in up to wherever, you know, a lot of homes are 8 inches, you know, that's the standard above where your actual brick starts or whatever you're putting. Foundation walls usually rise about 8 inches above the ground level. So technically they could push, you know, fill in dirt and it
That's
would
probably
be,
what they will.
you know, it'd be just, you wouldn't know it from anything else.
Yeah, so it just proved that, yes, it was a modular home because it is on the permanent foundation. They did it just a little different versus a crawl space. So it makes it a whole lot easier versus a dark, dingy, wet crawl space versus a.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I had no problem with it now.
That's pretty much what I got from the webinar. I had seen that lady, the lawyer at the Ohio Trustees or Ohio Township Association. So, I don't know if you got any more from that.
no, that was basic. And I spoke with Larry Wiseman today at the planning commission, county planning commission. And we touched on that very question. I hit him with about 4 or 5 things of what we've been talking about here. If we got time, I'll touch on a couple other things, but that was one of them. He basically explained, he did his master's in this. So
Okay, yeah.
his master's thesis, so on manufactured homes, you know, and then mobile homes, you know, like trailer courts and that kind of thing. So
So yeah, I mean, if we go with what she said, I mean, the big thing for her statement is may not prohibit permanently sited. So permanently sited meaning foundation versus just framework. But that may be something, you know, when we do all the definitions. And definitions, manufactured housing. So they're all manufactured in the back.
Okay. So, so zoning panels, did you get anywhere with that, Mark? Okay, I did talk with Larry about that, and he jumped right on it. You know, I called him at like 11 o'clock, 11:30, I think it was. And he said, well, let me call some of the other townships that I have contacts with, and I'll get right back with you. I swear in an hour and a half, he had all the answers. He talked with Clay Township and Miami Township because he thought they had just recently dealt with that. And he said, really, what they're doing is they're restricting the solar panels to the roofs, or the exception is as an accessory structure,
Which is
right?
basic.
Yeah, and then, yeah, and then as an accessory structure, most of those we say have to be behind the house, right? So that the request on Oxford Road, put them in the front yard, would have to have a variance on that, yeah.
So yeah, you guys will have to, you know, you can go with, which was basically Miami Townships, I think well, Liberty Township was a real good definition too. But again, you have to decide if you just want to go backyard or back inside yard. Say back, you know, and the only reason to say back or side yard, it doesn't make them get a variance. They have, see their backyard, you know, as a hill and it falls off quickly, they can't really put it back, but they got a huge side yard. If it's in the resolution that it says back or side yard, then they could just go ahead with it, you know, that we could approve it. Yeah. It just says backyard, $500 to go. So. Whatever you want to do, Marvin.
Well, last week I was trimming around the fields on the edges of the soybean fields, and one of the owners came out and said, was talking to me about, hey, I want to get in on this solar panel thing before the end of the year. Well, yeah, this particular one would be right on 725, and right where he wanted to put it would be, and you know, I didn't advise him either way because we don't have anything in place, you know, but it would be it's just right up the road here, and it would be literally right along the road where he wants to put it, right along 725. I mean, totally visible, you know. And it would be to the side of his house. It would be just east of his house.
So it's just his personal, not like a commercial.
No, just personal.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So. Well, as of right now, we have no solar.
I know. I didn't tell him that.
I do know that a friend of mine living down near Milford, they're talking about putting a 40-acre field in and a 1,000-acre field in of solar panels down there. And they're having a meeting, looks like it was Monday at 7 PM to discuss it, so.
Yeah.
Where's this?
He lives down Batavia way, down south east of Cincinnati.
Yeah. They're fighting this in, right outside of Greenville too. I got
It's
a
Jackson Town.
college buddy that lives up there, and every time we go up there, these big signs, no solar farm. I don't know what they had planned up there, but you know, they probably
Well,
don't
I
have.
mean, I could say state, Senate bill, whatever, 59 or whatever, that gave people.
Right.
So there are safeguards in place. Again, some of the farmers have complained, well, we want to do this. So you're taking the choice to put this on. As you know, you can get it with a $1,000 per acre. So
Yeah, I better jump on that quick before we get into everything.
I thought the last time we talked about that, we said it almost sounded like we might have to do this on a per case basis because like you can mention in that, it's not just front yard, backyard, and thinking about the Oxford Boomershine, there's an intersection there. So it's not just a sun glare that might, I don't know how much there's a problem, there's a sun glare on those, but it wouldn't just be a matter of affecting your neighbor if they were impeding the traffic flow at the intersection there might be an issue. Just like we have, I guess, against vegetation at the corner, where it would block sight lines.
Yeah, the particular place that he was talking about probably would not affect the intersection being, because and they'd be facing the south, which would be, it'd be away facing, the glare and stuff would be, anybody seeing them would see the back of it.
That's the only reason I think that it would have to be.
Right, it does need to be, it doesn't need to side by side, but I was thinking about that too, and it's like, well, who makes that decision? You know, if we go out and, you know, our zoning inspector do they have the authority to say, oh?
Yeah, sure.
They would?
Yeah.
And say, okay, no, this isn't gonna work, and here's why. They will be able to do that?
They would say, it's not gonna work here now. You can go before the BZA and get a variance, give them the option. Yeah, that's the zoning inspector has a lot of power. It's a problem. You have to be very smart, plus you have to be very honest. You have to be, you know, yeah, but anything that comes up as far as a zoning permit, they come in and say, I want to, you know, because when we require a zoning permit, you have to have the application, a plot plan. Basically, it doesn't have to be a, you know, blueprint by a surveyor. Just something basic that tells us where this array is going to be or where this pool is going to be. And then the fee, whatever. So the zoning inspector basically looks at that. If everything's okay, if say it's an accessory structure, backyard, it's 6 feet away from the property lines, it's fine. So she'll make that, that's why it's an important, very important, this position.
So we couldn't actually make a definite, or not, make a resolution for giving this parameters, because we almost have to say it's the zoning inspector must approve every.
Well, no, you'd still want to put it in here. It's making the zoning inspector's job easy. She doesn't want, ideally, you don't want to have to her making a trip out there and seeing, you know, hey,
But you couldn't make a certain parameters, like you said.
yeah, sure. You
certain
could.
conditions.
Yeah, right. Has to be in the.
I'm talking about, we're talking about like,
Setback numbers?
Yeah, so that's already. Setbacks. As far as accessory structures.
but what about the visibility thing, if there's a glare? That's a first sight.
I have never had any I see any problems with glare. So maybe if you were an airplane, but, you know, because again, at the angle you're seeing these things, they're not glaring or height, basically, so. You could put as much as you want in there, but the more you put in there, that, you know, restricting that.
Yeah. Well, if it doesn't do that, no reason to put it in there.
Right, exactly. So.
So any further old business that, care to comment with these items or anything else from previous meetings? Okay, moving on with new business then. So I'll just follow up Mark's comments with that zoning webinar. It was entitled Zoning Code versus the ORC. Just a few takeaways. They talked a lot about a comprehensive plan. And a comprehensive plan is, as they said, aspirational. So in other words, it's kind of like looking ahead 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20. And we talked about this.
We've discussed this.
Mhm.
Yeah, about where development might happen in the township. and
Exactly.
Where it might be. I thought we actually, you know, kind of put something like that in place.
Anybody know?
Well, I thought what we had was based on what the Montgomery County Planning Commission.
Exactly.
Yeah, we
Right,
adopted that as our.
right, we did.
You
We
can do
agreed.
that.
We agreed with that.
You agreed with, okay.
We did, yeah.
Is there anything, any statement that we had that you know that we maybe attached?
Kurt, you may want to call Larry back up and say, hey, is there a.
He sent me something.
He did?
Yeah, I believe it's in my email. So at least he said he would before the end of the day. So I'll have that and we can look at it again and it, you know, maybe
It
that.
just has to be general, and basically what the webinar said, it's the least important document you have is the comprehensive plan. ORC is the most important, your zoning resolution is next, comprehensive plan is way down.
Yeah, it's not a legal document, but it's a way to, maybe shape the desires of the community with the reality of what's going to happen.
I think it was like northeast, area of the township,
Mhm.
next to, the city of Germantown, be on there. I think that's where Montgomery County said development would happen, and we agreed with it, and so,
Western part, agricultural.
yeah.
Right. So, let's see a little bit more about, he says or the lady there's she said a comprehensive plan should be a guide. She was an attorney that is counsel to the Ohio Township Association, the OTA. It indicates your goals, vision, aspirational for the township for the next 10, 20 years. A comprehensive plan may be prepared by an engineer or planner in part. Now, maybe a township with more,
Well, yeah, we talked about that, and it was gonna be so expensive.
yeah,
Like, that's the reason,
or something like
Yeah.
that's the reason we adopted.
yeah,
and went
exactly.
with Montgomery County, because
Yeah.
it's gonna cost an arm and a leg to do our own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's,
And plus, we agreed with what they had assessed anyway.
yeah. Now do you remember when we did that, Marvin? Because they changed that every 10 years. And they did a new plan in 2020. So I don't think we've seen that.
It's way before 2020.
That's what I thought. You believe that as well?
Yeah.
5 years, 6,
I think more than 5 years ago.
yeah.
15
Yeah,
years.
so anyways,
For now, time doesn't apply that.
Isn't that amazing?
Well,
Yes, it does.
Let's back it up a little bit.
Think about how old your kids were 5 years ago.
I'm thinking 3.
I can picture like how old the kids were versus, oh, that wasn't long ago. Where'd those guys go?
I don't know, but it seems to be going faster.
So kids leave it a little bit.
let's see.
Yeah.
The purpose of a comprehensive plan is to guide the zoning staff, trustees, zoning commission, when an application comes in for rezoning, to understand how the rezoning application fits in the short and long-term aspirations of the township. Might also use the county regional planning commission plans. Okay,
Yeah.
so that she hit it right on the head there. Let's see, what to include in your zoning resolution. If the ORC says the township may regulate by zoning, then the township needs to make those specific requirements. So in other words, that word may is an allowance by the ORC that says the townships can do this. And that, so they're saying you better do this, because if you don't, somebody's going to take advantage of that loophole. That's their recommendation.
Did you, the video that you guys sent, were you a participant in that?
I was.
Mark listened in.
Mark? You were one of the 20-some that were,
27.
yeah,
The
I watched that this afternoon.
Did you? The
Yeah.
recorded version?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
It's very helpful.
So just so everybody knows, the Ohio Township Association is there to support trustees and zoning commissions and others who, employees by townships across the state. And you have a winter session that you've been to, right, Mark?
They have an annual conference at that time, they have all kind of seminars that you go to. A lot of them are zoning, so that may be something that you may want to attend. It's kind of expensive because unless you just drive back and forth. Again, there's plenty of good zoning.
Well, I thought just watching it that recording, you know, because then I could pause it or go back a
Right.
little.
So I, you know, it was $20 and I just, you know, Mark, we paid with the township credit card and that way, surprisingly, you can send it to anybody you want once you pay your.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, and that was.
So it was a pretty good deal.
That was good enough for me, but I appreciate you guys sharing.
Yeah, so and they have they have seminars every month, the OT puts on. So if I see something in or Kurt sees something, sign up for it.
Gotcha.
Same thing after the seminar is over, then they send you the video.
You can send it to whoever you want, but it's not exactly Netflix either, you know?
It was all right.
But they do have other things like that, and they have come out with a monthly webinar. Now, it's maybe once a year, it's gonna concern zoning, right? Or something like
No,
that.
there's usually, a lot of them are zoning inspectors. 'Cause this one is kind of big to zoning inspectors too.
Mhm.
So, yeah, if we see something again, we do the same.
So we might keep these recordings that you buy and, you know, for future reference, honestly, they're,
And the nice thing, if you go to the OTA, the winter conference, once you register for that, and if you're a member, which all the trustees are, be a non-trustee member, but it's your yearly membership is high. Once you go to those, you have access to every seminar. Great. Okay, so-
I'm happy with you going and
When I'm-
a pirated copy of
Yeah.
us. Yeah, I got just as much out of watching it that way as I would have
Well, yeah, it's better because you
been
gotta
a
stop.
participant.
This is, you can't stop.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, if there's one. See.
So they do provide resources for us if, you know, and if you go to the OTA online, you can see they've got a tab called resources up there, and a lot of them are all the webinars that they've done in the past that you can view. You can view any of them as a member.
I think it's a non-member, you have to pay.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, that's there. Let's see. Talking with, so this is where you come in, Mr. Glander. So I noticed on the map, Montgomery County. It doesn't really show it there, but on our zoning map, it shows a little piece out of German Township in the lower section down near Carlisle. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's bothered me as to why that was there. You know, it kind of looked like an extension of Carlisle. It did, you know, the map shows that the line across Montgomery County is straight otherwise, other than this little chunk. And so, you know why that's there?
No, I
It
don't.
occurred in 1987, so I figured you might know.
No,
Okay, so.
I think it's part of Gross Lumber Company's excursions. on
Yeah, right,
building.
right. It should be. Yeah, if they were looking for it. So Larry said, well, he looked at the map. He said, I think I missed something along the way. And so he dug into it. He's got all this access to history in there. He looked, he goes, oh. So in 1987, Fred Fricker, the, I don't know, county engineer or something like that, approved or signed off on Carlisle, the village of Carlisle, acquiring part of German Township.
Really?
Yeah. And that's where those Eagle Ridge houses are now.
Really? But I was thinking way ahead.
Way ahead. Like you said, it's the gross lumber conspiracy, right?
That's the Evans Herbie Morrison's farm at that time.
Oh, is it?
Jim would.
So anyway, so then I was talking with Larry. I said, okay, so Carlisle is now a city, and they've got water, and they've got sewer, and they've got streets pointed our direction. So, you know, there are steps that are allowed, you know, are set out in the ORC that where cities can expand into townships. I said, can you cross a county line? And he said, well, they did it up in Centerville at Cornerstone up there where Sam's Club and Costco is. Now, Centerville was willing to provide the services, and somebody wanted to put a gazillion-dollar development there on the old Billy farm, but it went into Sugar Creek Township in Greene County, so Centerville annexed Greene County.
So I think we talked about this, yeah, that may be next area development. I don't think.
Yeah.
there's-
More so than that northeast corner there.
Germantown would want to annex part of German Township. I don't-
Right.
Cities have.
And the same with the city of Carlisle or Miamisburg. Right? So, yeah. Anyway, just something for future discussion.
So we don't know what the ruling is on that or how that happens? I mean, does that have to be voted on by the township? Allow that or?
Larry said that I want to say it was in 97, the Ohio legislature streamlined that process. It used to be a hearing. It was basically a court legal hearing, and you had witnesses come in and complainants and those supporting it. It's because somebody wanted to develop. Those were
Sure.
the guys that were
Yeah.
pushing it,
Yep.
and then you had people who didn't want their houses developed. They wanted to live out in the country, right? So they had these hearings, all this stuff. So now that's all been streamlined, and you don't go through that process anymore. It's,
Leave it to a politician.
well, yeah, there you go. So, yeah. One in the room, Dave. So anyway, so that's what we're looking at, really. It's been streamlined for you, Larry. There's nothing.
That's not good.
No, it's not.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, for property owners, if you want to sell out to the highest dollar developer, yeah, that can be really good. But if you're the neighbor who doesn't want that, that can really lose your quality of life. So anyway, more to learn. So I think, Mark, was there anything else that you had for new business? Anyone else? Any other subjects there's plenty on the table now for.
So I guess the next question is, depending on how fast we get changes made to the zoning resolution, that will dictate when you guys want to start the whole process again. Same old process, you guys have to decide what you want changed. Then the zoning inspector has to go to the planning commission. Has to go to the trustees and appropriate.
With the public hearings and stuff again, and all that?
Go through the whole process again. Whatever previous inspector does. So to add a little wrinkle, Kristen, I've talked to Kristen. She doesn't want to, she works from 8 to 11 these days, which really is plenty of time, which just kind of contradicts that Haley wanted more hours. Kristen can do everything in 3 hours and get everything. So, but she doesn't want to do it forever. So she works Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday at Jackson Township. She works at Jackson Township. I think she does waste.
And she's got young kids at home.
So she doesn't want to do it forever. So we'll be looking for a new zoning inspector. So ideally, That's gonna be the same time. As far as her training.
I did hear on that, that we listened to there, that the physical officer can also be the zoning officer.
Yeah, he can. Well, he's actually our backup zoning inspector.
Yeah, so does
He
he?
doesn't want to do it. He doesn't. Well, it's a big job. I mean, he can't. But, yeah, we already did that. Just
Did I just hear you say that Kristen is limited in how long she's gonna be here? Or,
she does, yeah, she doesn't want to stay forever.
yeah, okay.
Just because-
She's doing us a favor.
Yeah, exactly. She's been. So
Okay.
Wednesdays we normally.
So you gotta find somebody. Okay. So you can start advertising right here if anybody knows somebody.
Somebody said.
So I guess also with regard to, somebody who's good at word processing, dealing with word formatting, et cetera. Somebody. I mean, this can be a high school kid if they're an A+ student or something. That if you know somebody and they want to make some dollars on the side, have them see Mark.
Hopefully, I'll talk to Chief and see.
Okay. All right. So any other new business? No.
He was just gonna go with his regular schedule.
Yeah, the next,
Generally,
the next regular scheduled meeting is October 4th. So 7 PM.
and I brought this up. Brent Walters hasn't shown up since the January meeting, so he's missed three meetings in a row, so he automatically could be dropped. I'm gonna give I'll email him and tell him if he still wants to be a part of this, which obviously he doesn't do this.
He's returned no text messages of mine nor any emails, and there've been numerous.
So probably. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll be looking for a zoning commission alternate.
Okay, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I so moved.
I'll second.
Get right in there, Freddie. We love it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I gotta tell my wife, you were telling Uncle Buck stories.
Motion to adjourn at 8:21.
You know.